Good evening. This is YouTube and Chill. And we are the show that loves talking about intimacy of relationships and sex. Well, yes, you can have intimacy without sex, but tonight we're going to talk about intimacy and sex. And we're going to have a man's conversation about relationships and sex. So, guys, are we getting the most out of sex, or sex getting the most out of us, turning us upside down and milking us? And that being milked could be by the woman, it could be by divorce court, it could be by family courts, anything else. Losing your house in divorce, the house you owned before you knew the woman. So let's talk about sex. So like this video, guys, as you come in, share it. I've dropped my PayPal and Cash App in there. Your support's great, always appreciate it. If you haven't checked me out on Patreon, I have some videos that haven't hit the public yet, and I'm counting down the days of a special announcement. So what's going on, Dave? Good to see you in the house. Thanks for joining. So yes, Dave and others, I really want to talk about sex, and some of the thoughts I had were like this, and I did a little bit of research. Don't need to share it all, but it's saying that since the days of Rome and Greece, people believe that if men had sex like athletes, they would be drained. It's going to relax the muscle too much and diminish their performance. And well, they've done the research, like empirical evidence, and they found that that is false. It's false. Sex does not drain a man's power and strength. And we've believed that myth for a long time. In addition, if we expand beyond just athletic competition, and beyond athletic competition, there's been informal research that shows that men who are highly like these super successful men, all of these cats had huge sex drive. Alexander the Great, John D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford, all these men who have gone down in history as Titan, even Cleopatra. I was reading that Cleopatra was out of control. I read that Cleopatra would line up 100 young guys and have sex with them. In addition to lining them up and having sex with them in a day, she gave them all some herbal enhancements that increased the each guy's sex drive. That was Cleopatra. If a man did it, we'd have all kinds of problems with that and how horrible he is. But if you look at Alexander the Great and Henry Ford, Rockefeller, we can go down a list of men. Howard Hughes. You see men who had enormous sex drives. And in informal research, it says like men who are hyper successful also have a hyper sex drive. And they often have women who can accommodate them. So imagine, a woman who's with a guy who has this capacity to be hyper successful, and they're in a relationship, and she's withholding it. She's really like robbing the bank. And this is why you guys hear me talk so much about sexual compatibility, because if you have a woman who's using sex as a weapon, or hell, she doesn't have the physical stamina, she's been raped or molested and has a negative attitude towards sex, she may not be able to accommodate your sex drive. And and the other side to this is, think about all the women who want monogamous relationships with men. And, initially they have all this sex with the guy when they first meet, they get married, and she starts to ration sex, but yet she wants a monogamous relationship, already knowing what this guy was like when she met him, and she accommodated him. And so what are women doing? Are they using it to manipulate, a bargaining chip? Where did she not have that sex drive to begin with? What is the deal? And are men having these conversations? Now, on the flip side is sex. Is that vagina? Is that, what are all the words? The pussy. There are lots of words we can use for it. Is that really a man's kryptonite? Does a man end up with a woman who's not good for him? And that could be a woman that, let's say, in a scenario where he has a huge sex drive and she just withholds it. And now this guy is craving sex. He can't get off all that he needs. And and so there's already empirical evidence that shows it doesn't diminish physical strength for athletes. So if a guy is a businessman, it's gonna give him all the benefits of recharging the brain, keeping the body clean. Hell, I even heard scientists decades ago say sex was the best exercise in the world. That's how they coined sex. The number one best exercise in the world. And I think they said Italian couples had this great longevity because they were having sex throughout their 40, 50 years of marriage at least like 3 or 4 times a week. So, sex isn't something like a trophy you put on a shelf and you look at it. It's something that it's like that Bugatti. You want to get in it and you want to floor it. You want to step into it. Looking tight, Teddy. Pussy isn't for the weak. What's going on? Snow. Anonymous. Upside. Interesting. Hey, Anonymous. Backwards and upside down. What's going on? That's creative. Don't know how you did it, but very cool. So we can talk about how sex can be a power source for a man, but for another guy who doesn't know how to manage his relationships well, he ends up in a relationship with a woman who completely manipulates him and uses sex to get what he wants. I mean, there are you guys who end up getting with a woman and you just know she's not right for you, with that body, that shape. You can't wait to get in there, and you're hoping it's tight and it's nice and fluffy and fat and wet and full, and you end up with a baby with someone you didn't want to have a baby with. And now your finances are in shambles. Or you marry someone because the sex was that great and you knew she wasn't right for you. And even if she was laying it down every night, or at least 5 days a week, to accommodate your sex drive, and she was there for you, except everything that came with it, now you've got kryptonite on you. Am I off, guys? I mean, are we talking about this stuff and how we manage it, and like you're letting sex be, or the woman who puts it on like a carrot on a stick and you never get to it, and she has you take you out. I have a Facebook group and a guy talked about a woman he took on a date, and he said he was just going to they had an agreement. This was just going to be her going to a salad bar, yet he takes her to an all-you-can-eat place, except she had that carrot on a string, man. And she just ordered what she wanted. He ended up spending way, maybe 5 times what he anticipated. And he was upset with the carrot on a string. So how many of you guys are, red pill or MGTOW because you're upset because sex became your kryptonite? There's no such thing as having a woman without a problem. And also careful who you impregnate. 15 minutes of pleasure or 18 years of pain. I always wear some rubber. Yeah, that's a smart man. Yeah. So, so yeah, you're actually bringing up something that's important. So, so if a woman has been passing her body around to a lot of different men, I like to avoid opinions and give facts. So empirical evidence shows that the more sexual partners a woman has, the more likely she is to divorce. A virgin has the highest chance of like over 90% chance of staying in a marriage without divorce. A woman who's had sex with one guy and marries him also has about a 90% chance of a successful marriage. They say when a woman gets over 5, she gets to 6 men or more. Well, at the number 6, she's 3 times less likely to be in an emotionally stable relationship. So a woman who's passed her body around to a lot of different men, and as you've said, Anonymous, she's had more boxers than Floyd Mayweather, Tyson, and Ali combined. She's bringing a lot of emotional instability. There's all kinds of research. There are 2 doctors, a man and woman gynecologist, wrote a book called Hooked, and they talk about how a woman she has this bond break. She bonds, oxytocin secretes, and then she breaks off. This could be a one-night stand. That oxytocin secretes, she breaks it off, and she does that too many times. It causes emotional trauma to her brain. That woman who's emotionally traumatized herself by having more than 5 sex partners, more than 10, more than 20, you get to the numbers that Anonymous is saying. This woman is emotionally unstable. I don't care how many college degrees she has. I don't care. Yeah, I just don't care. She can be a therapist, psychotherapist, psychologist, psychiatrist. And this is one of the problems when you get women who are practicing psychology and they're meeting with patients and that woman's been promiscuous. She's part of the problem and out there actually advising women, which only makes it worse, in which we see what we have here, which is Prozac and all the other pharmaceuticals, because people don't know how to actually help a person. They just take a pill and everything will be fine. And so think about that. Imagine you get one of those women who's emotionally distraught. She's emotionally traumatized because she's had too many partners. And a lot of you guys say that, well, those are the crazy women. Those are the best lovers, man. They have, the best snatch, man. That stuff is good. She gets down. She's going to do everything. And you marry her. You just married a train wreck, man. You just married Kryptonite. You just relived Sampson and Delilah. For what? And then when she drags you through divorce court, you're going to say you red pill, MGTOW, or you black pill, cisbem, ibmore. Look, sex has a lot of benefits, health benefits, right? So your brain lights up. It charges your brain, man. It relaxes your brain. It recharges your brain. It does all kinds of great things for your body. I did a show on that. It's very healthy for the body. It pushes toxins out. And your body naturally needs that release. I mean, it's not like you're going to die, but, if you don't have sex for too long, you end up ejaculating in your sleep, man. So your body needs it. Question is, at what cost? Yeah, yeah, they can come back and say it was rape. I want to talk about a woman, but it's somewhat of a unique situation, and I guess I don't want to do it publicly. Um, but she was told by her psychologist that she was raped, and she really was not even close. But she went around with this negative attitude towards men because she believed that she was raped, and she wasn't. So now she was angry with men, which made it very easy for her to be a bisexual woman and be in relationships with men or women. Right. Yes. I heard of a case, I don't know if it's true, where a man and woman had consensual sex. The woman came and she said, "Stop." And the guy kept going. He said, "Well, I didn't come." She was like, "I don't care, stop." And he wouldn't stop until he was done. And she took him to court for rape and won. That's what I hear. I never researched that, but I heard that. And I think the courts want to abolish that situation from being rape. I messed around with a coworker once, and she told all of her friends. And so here's a flip side. She told all of her friends about me, and they said, "Oh, we want to meet him." And I ended up hooking up with all of her friends. So uh, don't don't do your supply, right? So how many guys have any guys want to share how they got caught up in sex being so good that they ended up in a situation they didn't want to be in, either impregnating her, um, paying bills that you're paying bills for sex, man. Women are like Walmart parking spaces. The good ones are taken and the rest are handicapped. Strippers. Well, if you deal with strippers, you're basically paying them to leave, and they understand that's kind of the agreement, right? So they play. So there's some that's interesting. So a stripper. So a lot of women with feminism have used sex more than ever as a weapon and a bargaining chip. And it's and seeing something I never used to see in the past was women actually believing they're having sex with you and doing you a favor. It wasn't that way before. However, if you deal with a stripper, she really kind of knows her role. And I assume she has no problem playing that role. Is that the deal, Dave? A stripper knows her role. She knows she's getting paid to do a job, right? So she's got to bring you pleasure or she doesn't get invited back. Is that how it works? And yeah, I'm just curious. And I'm wondering, even though you have women screaming about feminism and sexism and misogyny, I wonder if more women are playing a role of an escort. I mean, are they actually taking those jobs? I mean, you would hear about women in college being escorts. You've heard that like a lot. They're making side money. So instead of being a stripper who's out and available for the public, they would just be an escort. And I understand not all escorts have sex, but could be part of the deal. So if you deal with a stripper, and so Anonymous, you said there's no such thing as, how did you say, having a woman without having problems. So I've done I did a show on the difference in how women and man's brain works, and there's actually a ton of validity to no such thing as having a woman without having problems, because the way a woman's brain works, the man and woman in the same situation, you present a situation and the man deals with it. The woman, she makes problems. So instead of the man goes straight and deals with it. A woman imagines all these situations, and if she's in your life, you're going to have to deal with that or not, right? So, there's thing of checking her in such a way, she's probably going to be insulted when you check her, but she'll appreciate it down the line. No house calls. Interesting, Anonymous. I wonder. Okay. And that's what someone was saying, that even prostitutes on the street, that's going to dip, because they can just go on OnlyFans and they can make money and not even necessarily have sex, just someone looking at them. And so, Dave, some things happened in a private dance that I got for free, then proceeded to give every reason why not to do it again. Okay. Hey, we're talking about sex. So, is sex man's kryptonite or his power source? And we're talking about how highly successful men have huge sex drives, and and sex can be beneficial and powerful and physically healthy. But on the flip side, there are guys who hook up with women and know that they know they shouldn't be with this woman. They know she's not right. And a lot of guys don't know that a woman who has sex with too many men becomes emotionally traumatized and emotionally unstable. And if you're in a relationship with her, you're going to get more than problems with her. And so she thinks it's normal because that's the way her brain has evolved. She keeps traumatizing over and over. Now, she may know she's crazy, and most women will privately tell you that all women are crazy. I was told this, and the woman, I said, "Can I quote you on this?" Because she's a medical doctor. She said, "You better not." So I won't quote her. But I've heard so many women say all women are crazy. All of them. They know they're crazy. So the crazier a woman, I have a theory that the crazier a woman, and she knows how crazy she is, she knows the only way she's going to keep a man in her life is to be a good lover and do everything. So she's kind of a hunter. She's got a hunt for a guy that she knows she can hook. She can hook certain men with sex. There are a lot of guys you just can't hook. They might take the bait and then swim away. Sounds like you did that, Dave. You took the bait, swam away, and she's not happy. But they're looking for the guy who takes the hook and can't get off. Like he becomes like a junkie. It's like his kryptonite. So, Anonymous, that's interesting. So people who had a void, right? So in a lot of cases, the father was missing. And so they're looking to fill that void of not having a parent. And actually having a parent missing in the household is emotional trauma. So, imagine a woman who's had sex with uh, 10, 20, 50 different guys, grew up without a father. It's like she's got emotional trauma after trauma. She's been sexually molested or raped. Another trauma, uh, mother being, there are a lot of mothers who are physically and verbally abusive. Trauma is just like bang, 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 bang. That woman is so traumatized. And even if a psychiatrist gives her meds to normalize her, whatever that means, there's the whole joke. What happens when her meds runs out? Well, she doesn't want to take it because she doesn't want the side effects. I actually know a guy who was dating a woman and he felt she was perfect, except she was taking meds because she was dealing with stuff. And she didn't want to take the meds anymore. And she was just out of control. He just cut it. I mean, smart him, right? So he wasn't on the hook. But you've got to wonder. I mean, is that the best choice of a woman, especially you're talking about being in a relationship with someone who has to take some kind of stimulant to neutralize her instability. But some of you guys get hooked on that. Like, so what is a man thinking? I'm curious, guys. So I'm gonna honestly say I've never been hooked on a woman. I mean, God, I can think of 3 women who like really lit up my life sexually, and when it was time to pull the plug, I pulled the plug. I mean, one, it was just so good, man. It was like sitting on a cloud, being inside of her. And she was actually losing her mind over me. And I said, "Hey, take a break. She was in college. I mean, she was a little older than me. She thought I was just playing with her like a yo-yo. So, and then years later, we hooked up. Still good, still even better lover. But you got to be willing to let it go, man. Like you have to look at the whole package. Like what happens to guys when the sex is so good or the pussy feels so good you've never felt anything like that? What happens? Is that anonymous what you're saying, that there's this void they're trying to fill? Like people misinterpret good sex for love or filling a void. So what's happening here? People getting hooked on a feeling, and we know those feelings don't last; they come and go. So, sex, without a doubt, has benefits. Informally, the most successful guys have outrageous sex drives. They have wives who will accommodate them and even have a chick on the side. and their wives understand that role that they play. So maybe they marry women who maybe quoted as a nymphomaniac, but these are women who really love sex, so they know how to choose a woman who can accommodate them. And maybe some of these women know they have men who will cheat because the sex drive is so big. But then you have on the other side women who use carrot on a stick. So what happens? What happens to a guy who gets hooked by a carrot on a stick and can't let go of that woman? Like, is this some like hopeful, wishful thinking that one day she's going to be the love of my life and she's doing and saying all the right things, so I'm going to keep chasing it? So that's the other side to look at, right? So what are a lot of guys attempting to fill? So what I'm saying is, and it's like I'm going to offer a solution. Whatever void a man is looking to fill, you can only fill that with yourself. And I do understand. Look, I mean, when I was 21, both my parents died. So I understand not having that. Sorry, God, my voice. I ran. My voice does crazy things after I run. So I understand that not having a parent. I do, or two. But the only way you're going to fill that, I mean, if your parent wasn't there or your parent was home and not a good parent, like, maybe you had a guy with two parent household and the father was kind of spineless. He wasn't there. He wasn't the kind of man that you needed him to be for you. And you're looking for some kind of void to fill, and you're not gay, you're not homosexual looking for men, but you're looking for a woman to create a bond with you because you didn't get the bond that you had with your father. Yeah, no woman's going to do that, man. This is where people start talking about personal development and self-improvement. That's really what this is about. This is about you filling that void with yourself. Because there's a side that we all have. And our just reading books and our education system really isn't designed to get us there. Like, there's a side of you that probably you can't get to with a formal education. Maybe athletes have that possibility of getting to it. I mean, look at Tyson. Tyson, if any one of you have ever seen that video of Tyson saying that when he first starts training, he's scared. He knows that other guy is training to kill him. And the closer he gets to the fight, the more confident he becomes. And when he steps in the ring, he's a god. That came from being a competitive athlete. And last year, I saw him talking, and he said he misses that man. That man steps in the ring. That man gets in the ring and slugs it out. That's the side of him. That's the side that a lot of guys don't see unless they're a competitive athlete. But what about when you retire? What about if you're not a competitive athlete? What if you just did sports in high school and college? So how do you get that side of you? How do you bring that man out? That man, that kraken, release the kraken, the beast. Every man has this beast in him that he wants to release. And a lot of guys, maybe you're attempting to release that with a woman through sex. And if you can find a woman who lays it down well enough, you're looking to fill that void with her. And when she figures out that she's filling a void, almost like she's your cocaine and your kryptonite at once. That's where guys start getting exploited. So if you fill the void with yourself instead of sex, instead of a vagina, one, you're less likely to impregnate the wrong woman. You know, that's first and foremost. Two, if you focus on developing yourself, you know, not just physically, but your mental capacity to think and be able to distinguish who's who. And if you want to be in a relationship and you understand compatibility, you can more easily discern who's right for you. Yeah, doing a hobby, no question. No question can help. Well, what I'm talking about is a man finding a power. So it's like that power that Tyson experienced when he was in a ring. Like when he said, I'm a god. When I get in a ring, I'm a god. And I see that other man and I'm going to find a chink in his armor. And I'm going to look in his eyes. And when he looks away for that fraction of a second, I won. The fight is already won. Now I just need to show the rest of the world what I saw. So here's what I'm saying. Tyson trained to be that kind of man in the ring. That kind of powerhouse. I'm saying that as a man, you have that possibility to train your mind to be that kind of powerhouse where you can look a woman in the eyes and find that chink where she has no power over you at all. Zero. Where you don't feel like you have to pay to play. I mean, if as a man, if I'm given the task of financing a relationship, I mean, if we take away my money, does a woman even want to be there? Women don't want to finance relationships. So if I have that kind of power in financing a relationship, just think about it. If you have a company and you bring in an investor who finances your corporation, that investor has some power. Same thing when companies finance a campaign contribution for a politician. So as men, if we're financing relationships, if women are saying, invest in me, why are you turning over your power? Because you're hoping she's going to fill some void in you? And technically, it's us who's filling the void in her. Literally, we're filling that void, man. There's a void. We're filling the void. We're financing it. We're the investors. That puts us in a very strong decision-making capacity. And if her only bargaining chip is sex, then she just turned herself into an object with very little value. And yet you're worshiping her and saying she's a god. Not sure who passed that around. Yeah, I wonder if that's the future of these dolls, these robotic dolls. Even women, they even making men for women. So I wonder. So there's the one thing that I didn't say is that there is an exchange of, so our bodies are electromagnetic, right? So, and a healthy human body can be measured in uh, um, as a frequency in megahertz. So a healthy human body is 76 megahertz. And if the frequency of your body drops down to 40, you're susceptible to cancer, right? And you probably have all kinds of mental problems that you suppress. What But some, because your frequency has dropped so low, cancer shows up. So even though you suppress it and put on a happy face for the world, the reality of your health is showing that something else is going on. I'm saying that for a reason. And I'm saying that because a healthy man and woman who comes together, who has 76, 100 megahertz frequency body, that's an exchange. And see, that's what I'm wondering, if that exchange is part of what makes men more powerful in business and sports and in anything, the way you show up in the world, right? I mean, a man who has a woman who's really on his side and laying it down and supporting, and she's offering more than her body, she's offering her brain. A lot of those guys walk into a room with a presence, man. Like you can see it, but they're walking in with more than just the power that they have with themselves. So that's the flip side of a woman contributing to a man, and in the sex is not that the sex is good, the relationship is good, and the sex is a reflection of the relationship. So if you take a doll, can you get that? That's the question. Just ejaculating, is that enough? Is that the same as getting that electromagnetic, that energetic exchange? So you're left with somewhat of a void, even though it might still feel good. But will you get the same power that you get from engaging in sexual intercourse with a woman who's actually exchanging in return, as opposed to her thinking she's doing a favor for you? See, that's the power side. That's the side where I'm saying men get more power. So if you're hyper successful and you've got a vision, a plan, and you have a woman who's offering her body and her brain to you, she's given her entire self, and she's contributing ideas, or she's networking and gaining access to resources that help your vision, that's a hell of an exchange. That's a hell of a lot of power, as opposed to a woman who's offering sex and she's got her hand in your wallet, and she's only having sex with you as a transaction. Now, some of those guys end up looking drained. And let's not pretend, even a woman who's giving you a great exchange, she's still going to have she's going to have a female brain. She's going to create problems where there is none. So you're going to end up with problems, even though she's a good woman. So as as you said, Anonymous, to have no problems, that might be a fantasy on the guy's part. So I'm only wondering. I got it. No nagging, no drama from a doll. I got it. And you can buy as many dolls as you want. You can have one for each day of the month. You can have 30 and be with a different doll. You bang it each day of the month. Is that the same exchange energetically, right? Intellectually. And if you don't know, and maybe it's better if you don't know how to actually choose the right woman, it may be a better offer, because if you're the guy who's looking for sex to fill a void, and you're the guy who gets hooked, the woman knows, oh, that's the guy right there. All I have to do is lay it down and I got him. I'll milk him. I'll turn him upside down. If you're that guy, then maybe the doll is a better alternative. But I'm saying the best alternative is to fill that void with yourself, with your own personal development. So, and believe it or not, even developing your body contributes to efficient brain function, and it contributes to your endurance in going through the day, whether you're working or playing, right? So having a physically strong body and having a mind that is able to distinguish what's in your environment, right? So being able to distinguish who's in your best interest and who's not, and that's man or woman. So, um, and even if I say date women 20 years younger than you, you still, there's a chance they'll be single mothers. And as you said, whether they're divorced, uh, single mothers, or feminists, yes, you're left with your hands. So I understand. Uh, so here's the other part. So when a man can fill the void with himself, and he does the training and developing, that's a different kind of power, and it's a different place to stand. A guy who's standing on shaky ground because he's looking for a woman to fill a void, she's going to do that. And that shaky ground is going to be built on feelings. So whatever way the feeling goes, or whatever way, you're going to be susceptible to whatever her mood is today. So if she wakes up, if she's not a morning person, and you just accept that because, hey, you don't want to be stuck with your hand. You want to have a woman who's there. So you're willing to compromise. Compromise is a horrible thing to do in a relationship, but you're willing to compromise because you want to keep her there. So you're now, and your whole life is being influenced by her mood. And if she doesn't feel like having sex, or in her mind, she's got to get something out of you, so it's a transaction. Yeah, man, you're basically being overpowered by a whole that feels good. And then the way you see yourself is just going to diminish, and she's going to exploit you more. The more your view of yourself, the more you see yourself as being powerless, the more she's going to exploit you. And eventually you'll just be happy with whatever she gives you. So if you get your power by developing yourself for your own life, for your own transformational power, very difficult for a woman to manipulate that. So you're not depending on her mood. I mean, you're more likely to create boundaries in your life, and either she's going to abide by them or not. And there are women who are, like I said, we're in our social construct, we're still expected to finance relationships. Hey, Victorino, yeah, sexual discipline is important. And we're talking about, is sex a man's kryptonite, or is it his power source, right? So sex can be very powerful for a man, but it also can strip him down, like Sampson and Delilah. Anonymous, I get that. So a man to a woman. So for a woman, a man is a sperm bank, a meal ticket, a handyman, an early retirement plan. And you'd rather be alone. It's not worth the risk. Yeah, the choice of having someone in your life, even for 6 months, it's really not a joke. And I say even more today than it's been in the past. Because as you said, some women come back and say, well, I didn't want to do that. Look at these professional football players who consistently had consensual sex with a woman over the course of months, and then she says, well, he raped me. So I get that. I get it. And there are a lot of women who, I was thinking about this today, how for a lot of women, there are no consequences for bad behavior. Hey, Bond 007, I dropped the StreamYard. The dominant nature. So, as much as women scream, as much as they scream about feminism and wanting equal rights and sexism, misogyny, very honestly, we do know, and women know, that their brains will do crazy things. They know that. They know they're worrying about things. And a man literally becomes like a rock and a stability. As long as men allow themselves to be led by women, women are most likely in a resentful mode right now because the very thing they need from men, a lot of men are not supplying it. So what does a child do when a child wants attention? A child wants discipline. They want guidance. The child acts crazy, or they get called acting out, right? The child acts out. I'm asserting there are a lot of women who are acting out because what they're asking for, they're begging for from men, a lot of men are not providing it. And that's the discipline. That's the emotional stability that women don't know how to achieve on their own. Even if she's a virgin and hasn't emotionally traumatized, she comes from a 2-parent household and, you know, what you would call a stable, normal household. Her brain still is going to deal with some emotional stability. Emotional instability, just because she's a female. That's not putting women down. It's just our biology is not the same. What scares or worries a woman, or the things a woman worries about, it are not things that we worry about. Red Pill Ghost, how you doing, man? Welcome.
Hey,
Thanks for joining.
how's it going? Mr. Santos, I finished up class right now, so pretty
All right.
tired. I had about 4 classes today. Man, it was exhausting, but I got my finals done, and I can't wait for summer, you know? I can't
All
wait,
right.
you know?
Congratulations, man, for knocking that out, man. Way to stay
Y-
disciplined.
Yeah, freshman year's done, you know, just on to sophomore year, man. It,
Congratulations.
yeah, but what's the topic for today?
So
What's the
I'm
topic?
asking, is sex a man's kryptonite or is it his power source?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, it's like a power source. I feel like, you know, it's a power source, you know, just because like, you know, we need that, you like, you know, just relieve our stress and stuff, you know, on like some occasions, on occasions if we need it though. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, sex is the foundation of, you know, a happy, you know, just love, lifestyle and like, you know, just marriage and stuff, you know. Um like, you know, for my parents and stuff, I mean, I'm not gonna talk about my parents. Okay, my bad, my bad. But yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But I'm not gonna talk about personal stuff.
I don't want them calling me up and saying I did it. Yeah,
No,
I made you confess some things, right?
no, nah. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, you know, I feel like sex is a very it's the standpoint of a healthy and just lifestyle pretty much. I mean like a healthy, like, you know, just lifestyle for me is, you know, go to the gym, read a lot. I like to meditate also, and also, you know, do the hookups do hookups with, you know, just girls I know in the past. So yeah, that's all. But
Right, right.
yeah.
But you develop yourself, right? So you're in school, right? So
Yeah.
You're training your mind. You also train your body. And these are important things to do for men. There's something about training your mind and body, and training your mind to see beyond what your education system or your environment has taught you. Because we've been taught all kinds of things, like women are made of sugar and spice and everything nice, and girls are innocent, and your mother's innocent, and
No, it's not like
girls
that.
are. We hear all the stories about the princess and the virgin, and we get filled with all this stuff. And then when you get to a certain age, you find out women are like, in the middle of sex, beat me. You know, you want to be treated in a way that you were never taught. You thought you were supposed to be gentle and delicate with a woman, and she's like, slap me on my ass and choke me and pull my hair, right? And you're like, what? you want me? Won't that hurt you? Like, why am I? why?
Nah.
Why would I do that to you? And
I
she's
know that.
for it,
Yeah,
right? So,
but like I noticed this with like more like just modern day just women and stuff. I see this especially on just where I live at. I live like in California and stuff, and I noticed that a lot of guys are becoming a lot more feminine in sex and stuff, man. Like they be going feminine and stuff, and the woman has the power all of a sudden now. And I'm just like, that shit's crazy, I feel like, as men, we should be the ones with the power, and like, just be like, just masculine with it, right? But I mean, like, there's some guys out there that I guess they like to go that way. I'm guessing, I don't know. Some guys out there be like into like weird stuff specifically. I heard a lot of stories about like my friends, like I don't know, like I don't know, I don't know. I got to keep this PG-13, man. I got to keep this PG. I'm like,
so I've heard of guys who allow a woman to put on a strap on and penetrate him, just like he's a gay dude, right? So that's my brother told me about this guy. He was at this networking event, and he said he and several guys were talking, and one of the guys, he said, if you saw him, he was like a macho. You could see he worked out a lot. He was well built. And when he walked into the room, my brother and a few other guys were talking to a woman, and she was saying, yeah, sometimes I like to put on a strap on and screw a guy right in his butt, right? And when this macho looking guy walked into the room, she said, oh, there's one of the guys I've used the strap on with. And she said, watch when he comes over here. He won't even look me in the eyes. Watch, he'll look at the ground. He's scared to look at me. And sure enough, he said the guy wouldn't even look at her, and she was talking to him. It's like she just diminished him down to like nothing, to an insect. And so that's part of what I'm saying is that's when sex has become kryptonite for a guy. Like, you've allowed yourself to be diminished down to nothing. And it's all for what? So you can have sex with the woman? I mean, that guy is better off getting a sex doll and saving himself from being crushed.
Oh man. Okay, now I'm gonna say my stories. I heard like just guys like just sucking toes and stuff. I just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Man, it's just so feminine, man. I can't do that personally. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know, just what's up with like, just modern, just men these days. Like, they want to get, penetrated with a strap on stuff. I can't like, if just one of my friends did that, I'm gonna have to cut him off because you did some like down low stuff. I'm not cool with you at all. Yeah.
Exactly. So and see that, and that's what, there's a gentleman in the chat who's saying that he's talking about how a lot of guys want to fill a void. So there are so many people who are coming out of a single parent household, And you
Yeah.
know, we can't deny that coming out of a one-parent household, there's going to be a void there that that one parent could never fill. So a lot of people go into relationships looking for that void to be filled, and when you combine that, there are a lot of promiscuous women who are emotionally traumatized from being promiscuous. Those
Yeah.
women are emotionally unstable, so they know the only advantage they're going to have with their crazy mindset is to be a really hot lover. So you combine that crazy woman with a guy who's got a void because he grew up with one parent, and you get them together, and the guy is getting great sex with a crazy woman, and she's probably gonna have him doing some outlandish stuff, and he's doing it to fill a void, and the sex is great, and he can't let go. So now he's got kryptonite on him.
Yeah. What else? What else? Like what's I was gonna say about the topic, but yeah, I mean, a lot of women these days. I mean, like they got a lot of power over just men these days. But the problem is, I feel like it should be like just other like way around, pretty much. Cause I've seen it like like just women like like with power stuff, especially in the government stuff, especially like I don't know if you know Senator Harris. You know
I've heard. Which state is that?
Kamala Harris.
Oh, her. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I read like a news article and stuff, and I was actually pretty disgusted by it actually, because like she used to like like just I think she was like a like like a intern like for like the San Francisco mayor stuff.
Okay.
I think it was just Willie Brown. Okay, so like at that time he was about 60 to 65, and she was 27 and stuff. So like, and like what she did was she slept with him, and she slept with him, and also she like she like just increased her political atrophy and stuff. And I was just like why like would a 27-year old Kamala Harris sleep with a 60-year-old man? I guess women these days are so hungry to get themselves to the top level, and eventually she became our DA of California, Attorney General at some point. So
Right.
yeah, so I was wondering like what's your opinion on on that article I told you about
I
that I
didn't
read?
read it. I didn't read it from what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's part of the topic, right? So uh, was that guy? Was he married
Um Willie Brown, he was a divorce at that time.
or he was divorced? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is so yes, sex can be a power source for a man, but it also in that case you're letting someone who may or may not be competent for the job uh, have advantages in business or government because of sex. So, it,
Yeah.
for the guy, he may feel like that's in his best interest, right? He won. I had sex with her. I'm
Yeah.
65 and I had sex with a 27-year-old, and now I'm going to open doors for her. And but who really wins in that situation when you open the door for someone who's incompetent for the job?
Well, it seems like it goes just both ways in my opinion, because Kamala Harris like just after doing that stuff she like she like increased her political popularity and stuff, and then she took the steps and stuff to like to book to like just become like the like attorney general. She went from a I think it was like a like just intern to district attorney to like just attorney general. So in that process and stuff with, I guess, like just Willie Brown and stuff was her like just role model, and she kind of like got the popularity like from him, like just advertising her. But the problem is like especially like with the left, the um like the left side of the political standards and stuff, they kept that just hidden and stuff. They kept that just hidden to like just savor like like just image and stuff. But that shows that females will sleep with like just anybody to get a like just a like just increase in their in their job standings and their sexual the value. So
Right.
that's how I see it. Yeah.
But that's still my question is, when you start putting people in positions where they can make decisions, especially over another person's life, and they're really not qualified, right, for it. So they're technically incompetent for the job. And so they've moved into positions where someone who is more qualified, much more competent, should have been in that position. So is that in the best interest of society when we make those kinds of decisions, when we move people around that way?
Shit, okay, so okay. My
Well,
response,
that's the question I'm asking, right? So
yeah.
that you just named one situation. So let's assume she's not the only one. She's not the first one to do it. She's not the last, and she's not the only one.
I'll
So,
say this, but like I've seen a lot of females do that and stuff to kind of like just advance their positions in like just like like just companies, and just like just like just restaurants and stuff. Because I used to work at like just IHOP and stuff in high school. I was a dishwasher, and um there was a just waitress and stuff. I'm not gonna say her name on here, but I'll just say the story, like like with like just no names and stuff. So she slept with the owner actually, and she got more bonuses than just on me pretty much, and the whole staff. And that shows a lot that females will be just willing to do like just anything for money and stuff, and also to just increase their value in the sexual just market pretty much. I've seen it firsthand, and I was I was very pissed off because I was like just working on just 8-hour weekends, you know washing dishes to support myself, and pay for gas and stuff, and like the like the like just necessities, like the gym, and like just clothes. But yeah, I was just disgusted, and that like just opened my eyes at 16 and stuff. So
see, that's the other side. Like you can corrupt your corporate culture, the culture of any organization or institution when you do that, because people will see that, hey, I'm really more qualified to do the job, except you're giving this person credit or money or whatever, a higher position, and they're not really qualified. So people kind of feel like, well, it doesn't matter if I do a good job. So people stop working so hard.
oh my god, she did a shitty job, just waitressing. She didn't like even clean the tables when like the owner wasn't there. So that shows that she's gonna slack off if she just
Right.
the higher, like, just wages and the bonuses. I didn't get shit. I was getting paid, like probably like 13 an hour, and then I got like maybe tips, just once in a while, but I was just a dishwasher mainly. So
But now think about what some, you may not have done this, but what some people will do is says, well, if she can get away with not doing her job, then why can't I? And the people who say why can't I, they're now going to dare the owner. I dare you to say something to me because I'm gonna say something. Well, why don't you make her do work? But you're sleeping with her. You're screwing her, so you don't say anything. You say something to me. So you start getting a lot of animosity in your organization when you do that. That's what I'm getting at is that one is you move someone up who's incompetent, right? So they're going to end up doing a mediocre job. Two, you start to taint the culture because people resent that and you start having problems. And so, one man, that's a perfect example. You gave two great examples of how two men could hurt their entire organization for sex.
yeah, when I saw that, just firsthand and stuff, I was in shock, but then like, I kind of like, yeah, because I was in a shock and stuff, but then like, I kind of had to like, just realize and stuff that, um, females are gonna, just be like that, just like, wherever like you go in life, I mean, like, just wherever, you work at, it could like, just be at, accounting, like, like just, uh, like just firm and stuff, like a nursing home, like like with the nurses and the patient. Like I've heard like a couple stories about that. Those are interesting for sure, and like just etc. So I mean, everywhere you go in life, there's like always gonna be somebody trying to take it to the next level. So that's how I see it. That's how I see this scenario and stuff. So yeah.
But see, so anonymous, I'm going to answer your question. It's a good one. So on one hand, there's some informal research that shows men who are hyper successful have huge sex drives, and when they have a woman or a wife who accommodates their sex drive, all it does is give them more power, especially if she's offering more than her body, right? If she has a good head on her shoulders and he can brainstorm and
Yeah.
discuss some things with her, right? So she's valuable. And especially if she has a network and opens doors for him, right? That's she's worth a lot. So that's a woman, that's one side, and I won't say it's extreme, but that's just one side of the spectrum of a woman who offers great sex to a man, and it's empowering for him.
Yeah.
On the other side, there's the woman who puts on a strap on and diminishes the guy. You also have men who chase women and they'll have sex with them, but it's really more of a transaction, and she'll just milk him. Buy a car. I have a relative, a woman. She's a gorgeous woman. I mean, very tall body, and she had guys buying her cars and diamonds. And I remember I was
Oh
a
my god.
teenager, and one of the guys she was seeing said, "Hey, I understand what she's doing. I know she's just using me, but that's okay. I'm getting what I want out of this." So, when I saw that, I was like, "Wow, a situation you never want to be in." So, but this guy's allowing that to happen for what? For sex. So, guys, that's some guys get milked and go broke chasing a woman
Oh
or
yeah.
trying to keep up a lifestyle for a woman. And when you go broke, she's just gonna, what some people say, monkey branch to the next guy
That's
who
true.
has more money, who can buy her the things she wants. So those are two different parts of the spectrum where one is power and one gets overpowered and can have his life destroyed. So
Yeah, I've seen that before. I mean, I know like a guy, the guy's a nurse and stuff. He works, he's very decorating and stuff. I mean, he has a BS in like just nursing and stuff, and he has a master's also. So he's making around like just 100 to like 140K a year and stuff, and with and like his girlfriend and stuff, his his ex girlfriend and stuff, she used like just him and stuff, for just money and like social growth, social
oh,
media growth actually.
she climbed the social ladder by
Yeah.
leveraging his network, right?
Yeah, so yeah, uh like with the money, he worked so hard for, like just every day and stuff, she was getting that just income and stuff, and the stipend pretty much on a monthly basis, and she was just spending it on just high designer stuff, and like eventually
Right.
after she like just went from 500 just followers on like just IG to about 40K.
Okay.
She left him for like some like just rapper in the rapping just industry and stuff. So that shows.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sad. Like I feel so bad for the guy and stuff. But the problem is it's just like you gotta like just be more self-aware. Just because I mean, just having like like all that just income and stuff doesn't make you like like a like just alpha male. What makes you a like just a true like just alpha or sigma male is just being like aware of your surroundings, and also practicing just religiously that the mindset that
Right.
like you're like just independent. You can just branch out to like other people, like just networking and
Right.
etc. So I've seen it. I've seen like a lot of things in this world where females really want to take advantage of you. It's
So,
crazy.
so let me. Here's a great question, and I want to hear. So you're a younger guy. I want to hear
Oh yeah,
your
for sure.
perspective on this question. And the question is, what's your opinion on a young man dating a career focused woman? So I I'm gonna step away for like 2 minutes, but I'll be able to hear you. I want you to answer this question, and I want people to hear it. So what's your answer to that question?
Okay. So like okay, so like anonymous said, Ted, what's your opinion on a young man dating a career focused woman? I see this. Okay, that's a good question right there. But for me and stuff, I feel like if both the if both the young man and the career focused man have goals and stuff, I feel like they're right for each other and stuff. Because like with social networking and stuff, I feel like both partners and stuff can just like just increase their like just value their wealth, and just popularity and stuff. But the but the thing is with like just career focus, and just woman and stuff, I know this, it's just like just my experience and stuff. They tend to be like just like um book smart and stuff. The like like the problem is they're not like like life smart at all, because I've seen a lot of career focused, and just women and stuff. They're supporting their husbands who work like a 9 to 5 job at, you know, you know, job and stuff, and also I've also seen this scenario stuff where career focus, just women and stuff. They also pick, you know, uh, convicts over, just other career, just minded guys and stuff. It's a sad to see and stuff, but a lot of these career focused women, um, um, the one thing they lack is life experience and the personality. I'm sorry to say that, but I've seen a lot of career focused women like with no personality at all. I'm just because they use their looks and stuff to get into the position. So I'm just as a young man and stuff. I mean, dating a career focused woman is like just it's great and stuff. I'm just because both it both of the partners and stuff can just learn from each other, and also just grow. Yeah, but the problem is not all career focus women are like are like just open-minded at all, because I've seen some career focused women they like a bunch of just bums and like just like just convicts. So it's like it's like a 50-50, like it's a 50-50 scenario pretty much, in my opinion though, Ted. Yeah, it's just my opinion.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. So you see where it can benefit when it comes to like networking socially, right? So
Yeah.
she's career focused. She has a certain amount of knowledge or expertise that may make her comfortable filling in as you're networking, and you're looking to advance your career, and so she hopefully would be comfortable in that kind of
Yes, sir.
economic class, right? So her having an education, having a career, and feeling like she has something to contribute in a conversation, so she won't just be a fly on the wall. Is that part of what you're saying?
Yeah, but like life and stuff, there's like always your pros and cons with the like the dating process of a career focused woman. I feel like the cons are that I know this like for fact. I talked to just older females and stuff. Like I know these two traits. They got no personality at all, and two, they got no life skills, or just
Mm,
life experience.
okay.
That's my opinion, though. I mean, how do you feel about it?
So if I answer the question myself, I'm going to first give an example. I have a cousin. He went to Princeton, engineering degree, and he had a great career in a Fortune 500 company. Uh, well, he engaged to a woman who went to Columbia Law School, very
Oh, wow.
smart woman. And so, they're talking about what life is going to be like once they get married. And he said, well, you're going to take care of the family. You're going to cook the meals when we have children. She said, no, I'm not. Because my mother never taught me to cook, so I don't even know how to cook. Sorry, I can't help you. I'm not.
Yeah,
So my cousin
that's
said, well, the wedding is canceled.
oh man.
We're not getting married. And she's, and my cousin's a good guy. He really is he's like a really good guy, but he's not a wimpy guy. So he said, well, here's how we're going to do it. you're going to go to my mother's house every day to learn how to cook. And when you learn how to cook, and we understand that you are going to be the one to cook for the family, the wedding's back on. And she did it. She went there, she learned to cook. And when they had children, instead of working for a law firm and working 14-hour days, she worked for general counsel and said, hey, if you hire me, you have to understand at 5 o'clock, I leave, not 5:01. Even if the project's not complete, I have to leave because I have children and I have a family. And they did that. And the children went off to, go to college and marry. And he and his wife are still together. So it worked. But he put his foot down and said, these are the boundaries. This is how we're going to operate, right? So he took what people would say the lead as a man and said, this is the kind of environment that I want. And if you don't want it, then that's okay. We're not getting married. He was willing to walk away. And so I think that's what a lot of men are afraid to do. So, so if I use that as sort of an example, men need a lot of conversations like, hey, here's the deal. You need to be a good woman for me as a man, like my partner in life. And I can live with that. But if we're going to have children, you also need to be a good mother. So you need to be a good woman to me and a good mother. Now, if you're not going to be a good mother, you can be a good woman. That's a good deal. I can live with that. That's if the guy doesn't care about children. However, if you can't be a good woman and you can only be a good mother, that's a bad deal for me. I'm not going for that. So what does that mean? That means at 2 o'clock in the morning, when the infant needs to be fed and in diapers, do not wake me up. Don't disturb me. You go take care of the child. Now, and I've had this conversation with women, and they say, that's not fair, and I'm not doing that. I'm like, look, you are a woman, and you have breasts, and those breasts have food for an infant. So that's your responsibility. If you're unwilling to be a good mother and play that role, then we just don't have children. But if you really want children and you think that you're going to be equal, it's not happening. And usually women say, well, when you do it once in a while, it's like, no, never, ever. Don't ever expect me to do it. When 2 o'clock comes and you're tired, you're going to get up and you're going to take care of the child because that's part of being a good mother. And that's the way it goes. And there are other things that you're going to do. Like my cousin said, you're going to cook. There are things you are the nurturer and the nourisher. You're going to provide food for the family. And it's food that keeps us healthy. You're going to keep the house clean. So a man needs to have these conversations. Just because you have a career doesn't mean you neglect your family for your career. It's just not worth it. And if the woman is going to choose her career, well, we better have this conversation up front, like right now. And if she's given too much pushback, then the guy, maybe he needs to rethink whether this woman is a good choice.
Oh yeah. So a statement like like just regarding your topic and stuff is that as just men and stuff, like we have to lead, and also to like put up like like this like the standards and stuff, because the problem is I see like like with a lot of like just men like just my age and stuff, they don't have any standards at all. Like I've I know for a fact a lot of my friends and stuff, I mean like from the past and stuff, like they don't have any boundaries in life, because the problem is just I'm like, oh, I like I'm like I like like just one day and stuff, they could be smoking weed. The second day they could be like, I'm like hooking me on just with a girl. Like three, they don't they don't do their schoolwork and stuff, and four, they're gonna drop out.
Right.
Yeah. So as men and stuff, like like we need like a bunch of just guidelines and just like just rules and stuff, or else like we're gonna drop down the shithole. Like we're gonna drop all the way down, and our just our purpose is gone. Like what I'm saying by that? Yeah, because I mean some guys they just don't like have any standards and stuff. I see this just all the time in California and stuff, especially like with the guys just over here and stuff. Like they just don't have any standards. They're gonna date like a girl who gets plowed down by almost 60 guys by like yeah, because I've seen it before. Because I yeah, because I was like just offered a position and stuff in a fraternity actually, but the problem is I turned it down because the problem is I didn't think it would benefit me like like just at all and stuff, because I see like just joining like a frat and stuff is it's just like just seeking validation and stuff, and just being a fucking like asshole. But the problem is I'm not like that. I'm more of like lay back and like just like just like I mean like just aware of my surroundings and stuff. But
Good.
I've seen like just men like just hook up with fat girls, which is disgusting. It's just disgusting. I mean, I seen like anorexic freaking dudes just hook up with 600-pound girls. I don't know what they do. They don't have any standards. Yeah.
So let me say this.
Yeah.
And this is probably something most women won't admit. So the guy who has strong boundaries, high standards, and and can be inflexible, right? So sometimes you might have to be flexible, but if you're inflexible most of the time, here's what women would say to me when I was younger. They would say
Yeah.
that whatever my goals or whatever things that I needed to accomplish, when I needed to do it, I tell them to go home. You have to go. I have to go somewhere. I don't care. I had a woman offer me money, and she was really hot. She said, "I'll pay you to stay another day." And I was like, "No, I was like, she was really hot. She didn't have to, but she wanted." She said, "Well, what if I hide your clothes when you come out the shower?" I was like, don't do that. I'll be back, right?" But I was in DC and she was in New York. So, but
Oh, okay.
whatever it is, I set out to accomplish. There's nothing a woman is going to say. There's no sex. I don't care how great the sex is. I'm going to accomplish what I want. And sometimes women get upset and they say, "Well, I'll accommodate you and I'll be flexible, but you won't do that for me." Now they might complain about that, except it doesn't change their behavior, because then they understand that I'm about accomplishing things, which is what they want, which is in the best interest of both of us, that I'm successful. So like your guys you're talking about who are smoking weed and not studying and hanging out, eventually women will lose interest in those guys, and it just will. They just will.
Yeah.
When lifestyle changes. So I'm saying guys who can be inflexible and say, "Hey, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm going to do. You have to go right now, and I need to take care of something. You have to go." Women
Yeah.
will stick with that. And even if you tell a woman, "Look, I'm not seeing you anymore," And she's like, look, please, you know, I'll change. It's like, no. I said, no. When you said to me, like, I love how strong you are, and you don't let me influence you. Their exact words are, never let any woman change you from that. So it's what women know what's best for them, especially if it's being presented by a guy, and he's not trying to hurt her, but he's laying down the rules. He's
Yes,
laying
sir.
down a hammer, and she will respect that. Even if she complains about it, it doesn't mean that she doesn't like it.
Uh, oh, the comment says, just women love those bad boys the until the biological clock kicks in.
Right.
Well,
True.
yeah. Oh
Right.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Because women, they love the toxic, just masculinity. So that's why they chase the bad boys and stuff. I see it all the time because I was because I was like this. I was like the same way and stuff. I was like kind of like a dick in high school, but like I noticed and just women just caught on to that and just started chasing me. I'm just because I like I don't give a shit, and like I was I was like I was like so focused on academics and stuff that I'm kind of like just rubbed off on them. And like, yeah, I mean, it's true, man. Women hate the nice guys. Just because they're so used to just men treating them nice. And like I know for a fact women just love to get treated on like shit, like horrendous shit, like horrendous shit. But yeah, I mean, it's sad, but it's true, man. Our society has changed so much though. And eventually when the woman reaches her late 30s, she's probably gonna settle down with a nice guy, just because the nice guy is gonna fund your life, right? The nice guy's gonna fund like just her life, like just her children and etc. But yeah, I mean like like it's better and stuff to just be like a just be like a dick to be a nice guy, honestly, because I don't want, yeah, for me and stuff, I don't want to be the nice guy. Hell no. I'm not trying to be nice to people and stuff, but like but like at some point I'm in my life, I have to be just nice and stuff, because professional standpoint, right? Professional standpoint and stuff, I have to be just communicative, I have to be like just outgoing. But
Right.
yeah, I mean like just outside of like just working stuff, you can just be a dick and stuff. But the problem is, sometimes it can really backfire and stuff if you're like so like like just arrogant. I've seen it before. I've seen like a lot of guys who are arrogant and stuff. So like like just arrogant to the point where they just look bad and they just look like clowns. I've
Right.
seen it before.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does happen. Someone said they're not able to pair bond when it comes time to be with the nice guy. So, like you said,
Yeah.
late 30s. So that's dangerous for a couple of reasons. So one is, like I was saying, if they have sex with too many guys, they traumatize their brain. And
That's true.
and I'm not saying it to be funny, but because there are two doctors, a male and female gynecologist, wrote a book called Hook, and they talk about how when women bond, I don't care if it's a one night stand, she's going to secrete oxytocin and bond with him, and then she's going to break the relationship. So that bond break. If she does that with each guy, it's traumatizing her brain, and then there's sort of a tipping point where it's too much. And then but it's just overkill, right? So she's not secreting oxytocin, so she has a difficult time bonding with the guy. The other part is if she's going to have children and she's not secreting the proper amount of oxytocin, she's not going to bond with the children, and she may end up being a terrible mother, somewhat abusive, or breaking into rage when the father's not around. And so what she's going to be left with, the way she gets feel good instead of bonding, is going to be dopamine, which means she's going to depend on you buying her gifts. Is when it comes to sex, maybe the only way she's going to cheat, right? So the way
Yeah.
she get a dopamine high, she won't get oxytocin, she'll get a dopamine high. So she'll cheat, or she'll be the side chick. She'll be with a married guy. Or the only way she can get off is if it's BDSM, and so she gets a dopamine rush from that.
Yeah.
So that instability makes it very difficult to raise a family, and she's going to have you jumping through hoops to get her dopamine rush, so it's going to cost you financially and otherwise. So
Yeah.
not a good place. See, women don't understand. They were told they can do whatever a man can do, but it just doesn't work that
They
way.
can't. Look at our vice president stuff, and just right now and stuff. She hasn't done shit for our country at all. She hasn't done anything at all. And it's it's sad to see, but I'm not a misogynist or anything, but I'm just saying that a a vice president of the United States has to be a man, because the guy has power and stuff, and with his with his voice and stuff, and his actions, he can help our country and stuff, right? It's just Kamala Harris, I don't understand, why, she's our vice president, but I guess, we gotta pay our taxes, we gotta pay our funds to, just Uncle Sam, but but yeah, we have to pay our taxes. Jesus, yeah, my taxes are not looking good right now. So
So when you're taking us back, we're getting back to the topic. Plus, what you said about the how Kamala moved up by having sex with the guy, right? So that guy
yeah,
allowed sex to manipulate him.
yeah,
She moved up into positions that she technically wasn't qualified. So this, you see what I'm saying about incompetence?
yeah. I know what you're saying by that. Just
Right. So that
now.
it's a problem. So the man may feel like, wow, I'm having sex with this woman who's really, let's say, out of my league. Normally, I would never have access to this woman's body, but I'm willing to do it, and I'm willing to sacrifice quality, whether it's the guy and the business owner or politician. But it's see, this is where men technically uh, need to be trained to really understand principles, right? So
Yeah,
principally, what's in the best interest of the whole? Like, women are concerned about what's fair. That's not fair. We should do this. That is fair. Only it's fair if we both get up and do a 2 o'clock feeding. No, you're looking out at what's in the best interest. What's right. Forget about what's fair. What's the right thing to do? And and moving this woman up wasn't the right thing to do. And
yeah,
when you do things, when you don't understand principles and doing what's in the best interest of the whole, which that is a major part of a leader's job, is to take yourself out and your own selfish needs for pussy from a woman you don't have access to, and you're there to look at what's in the best interest of the whole and make decisions and move people accordingly, so that all of your stakeholders, everyone who has a vested interest of a successful operation, is well served. But when you start moving incompetent people up, and not incompetent because they're stupid. They're just not prepared for the job you're putting them in. And the only thing they've done to qualify is have sex. And that's a problem when you have men in those kinds of positions. Maybe we need to do a whole new education about principles for men so that they better understand decision making.
Yeah. Yeah, and like just also just relating to the statement and stuff is that women, like a lot of just modern women these days, they're like just all that, and you know they can do like like just jobs that are for like just men and stuff, but they're not like up to date with it. If if you've seen like with our like just administration and stuff, it has really changed a lot in general. Like there's more openly, I guess I, I I guess like okay, so like what I was gonna say about the Biden like just administration and stuff, and they're like just their cabinet stuff. So like I noticed that there's more equality like in this administration. There's more lesbian women. There's more trans women. You know, and
Wow,
a set and a
really?
set of yeah. If you seen the news and stuff, I think Biden did pass along stuff about like like just allowing trans people in the military. So Biden's been kind of like more of like just open-minded with his genders, I'm guessing, and like he wants women and stuff to like just work the jobs and stuff as a man. But the problem is they're not set for it. They're not set for it like just at all and stuff from like just what like I have seen. You know um you know yeah, it's a sad to see and stuff that that Biden he leans towards more of reforms toward just genders and stuff, and gender like equality. Yeah, yeah, sad to see. And the comment says lesbian women are ranked just number one in domestic just abuse cases. Yeah, yeah, because it's just like the masculinity collides, right? The masculinity just collides, because I know like a lot of just openly bisexual women and stuff that are really like just masculine. They're really like just masculine. They got a strong jawline, strong chin, and and it's just like so masculine. I was just like, it's true though. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. Like I'm like anonymous. It's so true, actually. Yeah, but
But he's saying that there's a higher incidence of domestic violence with two women than it is with a man and woman. And see,
yes,
the news is not reporting that. It's just saying that men are so horrible. We're beating women all the time, but no one wants to talk about the amount of women who beat other women in relation.
yeah, yeah, Mr. Santos. I feel like our media and stuff is too liberal and stuff, and I feel like we need more just like just updates on like just statistics and census data and stuff on these just these domestic cases and like the crimes and stuff. Yeah, because like it's like it's sad to see and stuff, but the problem is I guess our country's gonna have to change in the future. I mean, like we're gonna have, just electric cars in the future. It seems like. I mean, like we're more like, just environmental. But yeah, it's just sad to see that, just women these days want the power like men. But the problem is, life is not like that. It's not like that. I mean, like to like just be up on the standards of a man. You have to, just work your way up in life with all success and hard work. But instead, the woman wanna have, you know, sex like with the head honcho and with the head honcho, and just get the positions in the company or like business. So yeah, I mean, it's sad to see. I see this all the time, and like yeah, I just
But do you know the two countries that are not going for that? They're not going for feminism and the women openly putting men down. You know which two countries are taking a very hard masculine stand against it?
I don't know the two hard countries. What like just what are they?
Mexico, our neighbors. The cartel is making the feminists disappear. And then when a man stands up and tries to protect and defend the feminists, he disappears. And when the women complain about those women disappearing, those women disappear. They're playing. But what the news doesn't report is that there are more and more women in Mexico who believe they can be as tough as cartel, and they've jumped into the drug dealing school or arena, and
Yeah.
they're getting wiped out. They're being treated like men, so they're getting their asses kicked, getting their asses handed to them. So that's one. The other country is China. The women who are being these staunch feminists, they're being shut down on social media, on the internet. They're being absolutely shut.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I used to date like a Chinese girl. She was from the Shanghai like area and stuff, and it was like a 1 week fling. So I'm not gonna call it dating. It was like a hookup and stuff, and she was really feminine, and she was like, she didn't like scream at me or anything. Like she didn't, she didn't how do I say, but like just like just rejected my my just offers to just hang out and stuff. She was very feminine, and like she wanted me to be the man, and I did it. So yeah, like I noticed that especially with just Eastern just Asian women and stuff, they're like more feminine stuff, and also like with the South American
Absolutely.
countries too and stuff, they are feminine, but the problem is here in the US and stuff, they're like they all are trying to be just masculine here. That's the sad thing. That's the sad thing right there. But I mean, like it's part of life, and you just got just be aware of it, and like just move on.
So think about what you're saying, right? So
Yeah,
let's relate this to the topic, right? So is sex a man's kryptonite or his power source, right? So
yeah,
here we have men and women in Mexico and China. And I promise you, and I lived in Mexico for about 2 years, I promise you the Mexican women have the same equipment as the women in the US. And the women in China have the same equipment as the women in the US and Mexico. And for some reason, the men in those two countries are not bending over backwards or getting on all fours and getting plugged up the ass by a woman. They're taking a stand and saying, hey, these are the boundaries. So what's the difference between the men in Mexico and the men in China and the ones here? So, is it the media? Is it that men are being raised to worship vagina? We get told that women are godded, the women are gods, and we should do anything for them, and a woman's always right. And if all these jokes, right? Happy wife, happy life, all these things that we hear, and somehow the men in those two countries are not letting that kind of mindset, take like become a towering inferno. So there has to be a lesson for men in the U.S. to see, for the men here to say, well, there's nothing we can do, right? The court system, the police, all this. Yet men in other countries have taken a stand, and they are speaking loudly. In fact, in China, they're concerned that boys are not as masculine as they used to be, and they're making boys learn to be masculine. They're going to be educated in masculinity. So what's the difference? We're all men. We're all human beings. So
Yeah.
why is one country ruled by pussy and the other country is ruled by the people who actually built the civilization? Because whoever built it is responsible for it.
Yeah, so from just what you're saying stuff is that, I feel like men in especially on just other countries and stuff are more just aware and just logical and stuff actually. But yeah, I feel like a lot of just men in those a lot of those men in just east, southeast, like just Asia and stuff, and just Latin America, they see women as how do you call it, assets pretty much. They see them as just assets, and that if you don't want to follow my rules of just regular regulations and stuff, then just leave. I'll go find another girl and stuff in another city, another state, another province. But the problem is with modern men today, they don't know how to do that and stuff. They don't they tend to stick with the same girl for just months on end, sometimes years on end. And it's sad to see and stuff. It's just I feel like men here in the US are more emotional and spoiled too, and they're really spoiled too, with females and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's true though. I mean,
So,
like
think about these two things, right? So women are less happy now than they were in the 70s. And so the more housework a man does in his relationship, it doesn't make the woman happier. In fact, she becomes less happy. So there's a problem, right? Women in the U.S. claim that, I don't know what the number is, 85, 90% of women never have a climax during sex. Let me tell you, when I was in Mexico, you could time a stopwatch, and a woman comes in the first 5 minutes. In 10 minutes, she comes twice, and 15, three times, maybe four, and she's like she taps out like in MMA. She taps out in 15 minutes and says, you got to give me a break and then come back. And so those women, and it wasn't just me who found that with sex. I know other guys from the States who had the same experience that I did in 5 minutes. Like they couldn't believe it. So the women are happier. They're enjoying sex more in Mexico than they are here. So they're having a more fulfilling life. Women here, they're not fulfilled with it. The husband does housework. They don't enjoy sex. So they have their own money, they have jobs, and yet they're still not happy. So why,
yeah.
why are men even listening to them?
Man, men like here in the US are just stupid, honestly. They're all like emotional wrecks. I'm not trying to like generalize and stuff, but that's just what I see. A lot of men these days are not self-aware, like just at all. They don't have a purpose, and the problem is, they let the woman just run like just miles around them, and kind of like spit on their face, spit on their face, and just be like an emotional wreck.
But that's not happening with all men. What men, most of those guys who are affluent and make decisions and policies, their women uh, honor them. They're having less problems.
Oh yeah, okay. So for example, like we'll name our like old president stuff. Donald Trump. Donald Trump has a great looking wife, and she was with him and stuff. I'm just because the guy, Trump had a purpose in life, and he could command Melania to and just to just wherever and stuff, because I've seen just Melania Trump just just being like like just unhappy and stuff. But the problem is she faced the consequences, and she went through. She went through with the plan and stuff. I just because Trump had like a masculine presence, and just Melania Trump bought in
Right.
to be feminine and stuff. So that's another example and stuff right there. I see like on the news sometimes when I see him just getting off the Air Force helicopter, or just Air Force One. I think it's called, right, like Air Force One.
Right.
Yeah, and that's another great example right there actually too. Trump has the direction and the power and stuff to lead.
So does
Um,
that? Do you know the story of Sampson and Delilah?
oh no. Uh,
Okay, so it's a story in the Bible. I don't know where it is, but there's this guy Samson. Samson is like he's a powerhouse man. He can
he's a powerhouse.
no. He can fight a whole army. I think it's a story of Samson. He fought a this is ancient times, but he took the skeleton of a mule and beat an entire army by himself. He just beat them off of him, one man at a time, two at a time. He had power, and people, and so Delilah was part of the royal family, and she Samson was like while he was a good guy, he was massively strong. So this woman Delilah wanted him, and she found out what his power was, and his power was in his hair. As long as his hair was long, he had the power of like 10 men or more.
He was, yeah.
So she cut his hair and he lost his power.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay.
When he lost his power, they were able to do things to him. Right? They blinded him and they were able to tie. But
That's so true.
she got close enough to him, and she was able to cut his hair. And now
Okay.
he was powerless. He was just a regular guy now, so you could overpower him. I guess she would lose respect for him once he lost his power. So is that what has happened in the U.S.? Men they've allowed themselves to have their hair cut and they lost their power, and now Delilah just overpowers them and just does whatever she wants.
I I mean like I don't I don't think the hair matters. I mean, I don't
No,
like.
no,
I mean,
it's a symbolic. It's a story. It means like so.
oh, okay,
It doesn't mean a man's hair was literally cut, but his power
yeah,
is
yeah,
hair, right? So
yeah,
his power. So have men's power source been cut, and now they're like Samson was powerless when you cut his hair. I mean, eventually his hair grew back, and he had his power again, and he did crazy
yeah.
things.
Well,
But
well, like I'll tell you, like personal. I'm like accountant stuff. I used to be 190. I used to be just bloated and stuff. I used to be bloated in the face and stuff. But when I noticed, as I lost like, I think like probably like 15 pounds and stuff, I noticed that my jawline and stuff, it started like I'm attracting just more
more pronounced.
females and stuff.
Right, your jawline is more pronounced, right?
Yeah, because like I know for a fact in our society and stuff, today and stuff, I know that a lot of females and stuff are I'm attracted to the jawline stuff. I'm just
Right.
because just because it shows just like just high testosterone and like just masculinity at its finest.
Women want to have sex with guys like that. They do. They don't necessarily want to marry you, and um, if they're ovulating, they even more want you because they
Yeah,
associate that
yeah,
with teens when their children will survive. So they've done all kinds of experiments.
yeah. Like okay, so from my personal accounting stuff, when I started just leaning down and stuff, my jawline stuff started just popping and stuff, and then I noticed just more women with boyfriends and stuff started flirting with me and stuff, and always complimenting my jawline and stuff. And also, I noticed a lot more females wanted to hook up with me and stuff. So I would like, I would have to say a jawline. It helps with the females, and it has a lot of power still with it too.
It does.
Yeah, cause
They've done experiments. But go ahead.
yeah, cause I mean, I've seen like fat guys and stuff. They're like 5'8", 300 pounds with no jawline, and they're not pulling on just any females at all. But like I've seen like guys like that are like 5'10", 140 pounds with like razor sharp jawlines, but they're skinny as hell. But the problem is they're still pulling females and stuff. I'm just because of their like just masculine like just energy, the confidence and the looks they have.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because I mean, any woman in this society, they want a guy with a strong jawline and stuff. I mean like it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're like Jay Leno. I mean, Jay Leno has a very strong crimson chin jawline. I don't know if you've seen the Fairly Just Odd Parents. He has the crimson chin jawline and stuff. But hey, I mean, he he's I mean, the guy's very just masculine stuff. So that's why the women love him. So that's why the women love him. And like the like just yeah, I've seen it firsthand.
Cool. So let me ask you. I'm gonna bring this to a close. What any concluding thoughts about sex being kryptonite for men or a power source?
um So my like ending statement and stuff is that sex is a just acid in my opinion, and that like you know. It's like a like acid and stuff. If the woman will be on just like just willing to bow down to her feminine ways instead of just like instead of like you like instead of just being like just masculine. So yeah, I mean, sex is a man's kryptonite stuff as long as the woman is being very feminine and like like just understands your like just your like just actions and stuff. So yeah, that's my statement on it.
All right, cool. Uh, so yes, I think we haven't touched the surface. We haven't even scratched the surface for all the benefits of sex. I mean, if you just think about, we can create an entirely new life through sex, and I'm asserting that sex allows us to create many other things. But if it's used as a weapon or if it's used to manipulate, it's probably destructive. So I'm going to get a little deep here. So there is, and you'll probably learn this in med school, but I've
Yeah,
heard.
for sure.
No, I'm going to say something that you'll probably learn. So
Okay.
I've heard several doctors say that they now know that a human being can alter their own DNA. And before, they used to think DNA was fixed and there was nothing you could do about it. They now have learned that you can alter it. And one of the ways of altering your DNA is literally through language, like through the conversations, the thoughts that you have with yourself. So there's power over your own DNA. You have personal power over your DNA, right? Now, and I'm not, we could go on about how technology can influence it with frequencies, but let's just say you have power over your own DNA and being able to alter it. Now, think about that. A man and woman come together and they have sex and they join their DNA to create another life. I imagine if you're having sex and you hate one another and you're having conversations with yourself about how you hate the other person, you're probably going to have a screwed up child, right? Since DNA can be altered through language, right? But if you have sex and you have sort of an abundance and conversations about manifesting power, probably going to have a pretty awesome child out of that kind of union. So if you can create life and impact the DNA of yourself or a child you create, imagine the impact you can have on one another just through sexual intercourse. So that's on the positive side, and great things can come out of it. Except too many women are now looking at sex as a transaction. And so imagine that kind of mindset, and you may not even like the guy, but it's just a transaction. She may be sucking the life out of that man by looking at it as a transaction. And that's when it becomes kryptonite for a guy. So every man is responsible for who he allows into his life, especially intimately, when it comes to sex. So as you were saying, and Anonymous and many other guys have said, men need to put a hell of a lot of focus on filling any voids in their life and developing themselves, your own self-improvement, your own personal mastery, mastering yourself, having a craft, having a hobby, and mastering that also gives you a lot more access to your own power. And if a woman just happens to be interested as you're mastering these things, mastering your universe, she's going to have to come within the power of the universe that you created. And if she wants to come in and think she's going to battle with you, you need to set boundaries and show her what power is, and just not deal with her. So look, men have an opportunity to be a master of their own destiny, since women want to sort of divest and separate. So this is a time for men to really focus on mastering self, mastering a craft, mastering a hobby, mastering the world they live in, and having a much richer and fulfilling life. And if a woman wants to be part of that and add sexual intimacy that can empower you, great. If not, send her walking.
Die alone. Die alone. To the
Exactly.
single woman there, yeah. I know
Exactly.
what you're saying.
Exactly. So, hey, man, I always love when you call in and everyone, you actually, the guys who are older, you give them, I hate to use this word, but you give them hope that there are younger guys who are listening and on the
Yeah.
right path and want to do something. So, always appreciate your contribution and
Okay.
engagement. And if there are any other guys who are in your age who want to, you know, have conversations that are outside of the media and what we normally hear,
Yeah.
we'd welcome to have them also.
There's not that many guys out there, trust me. There's not that many guys my age out there, trust me.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right. All right. Well,
Cool. Thank you so much for your time today. I do appreciate it.
same
Have a
here.
good one, Mr. Santos. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care. Enjoy the week.
Peace. Yeah, you too.
So thanks a lot, everyone. This is YouTube and Chill, where we talk about intimacy and we love talking about sex. And we were just talking about, is sex a man's kryptonite, or is it his power source? And so we looked at both ends of the spectrum, and we looked at even how women exploit men, and it becomes not only kryptonite for men, it possibly has become kryptonite for our society. So as men, as builders of every civilization, we are ultimately accountable for everything that happens within it, including sex. And we talked about countries like Mexico and China who are taking a stand for masculinity and refusing to allow the feminists to overpower them. So if the men of those countries can do that, and they're dealing with the same human element, their women have the same equipment that our women have, what is stopping men here from doing the same, taking that stand? So, with that, fellas, I always appreciate your thoughts. The super chat, West Coast, always love having you here. I'll be back on Sunday with Straight Talk, and we're going to have a very straight conversation about a man's perspective in life. And I'll just a sneak preview. Very shortly, I'm going to have a surprise announcement. I'm not ready to put that in the public yet, but it's just around the corner. So I have a surprise announcement for you all. Love your support. Have a great weekend, everyone. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care and good night.